Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the CoAnalyst podcast series. We're excited to have you join us again for now Chapter 4, where we're going to be diving into how CoAnalyst excels in analyzing visual data and generating insights from that. I'm your host, Allison Sullivan from Penlink, and today joining us again is the extraordinary Christine Talley. How you doing, Christine?
I'm doing great, Allison. Thank you so much for having me back again. I am excited to be with you here again for episode 4 because we're going to be talking about analyzing visual data and categorizing information. So both of these are crucial aspects for digital investigations, and CoAnalyst offers some really powerful features in these areas. So why don't we start with visual data analysis? Why is it so important to modern investigations?
Absolutely. Visual data. So think about images, videos. It can really provide a lot of critical evidence into investigations. You can gain so much insight from those images. It can reveal details that are not captured in text-based data, such as, the appearance of the suspect, the location of an event, even patterns in behavior. So analyzing this type of data manually can be incredibly time-consuming and obviously prone to errors, which is why AI-powered tools like CoAnalyst are so valuable.
Definitely. So, I don't know how we ever lived before the internet or smartphones, and I've been playing and working with AI so much recently that I'm starting to wonder how I ever lived before that too.
Yeah.
The CoAnalyst uses advanced AI algorithms to efficiently, accurately analyze our visual data. So one of those key capabilities, and which is fast becoming one of my favorites, is semantic media search. So traditional image searches rely on metadata or tags, right? But semantic media search understands the content and the context of those images. So why don't you talk for a second about how that works?
Absolutely, yeah. I know this is a topic you and I have talked about at length, but essentially semantic search really it allows the users to conduct searches usually using natural language processing queries to find images related to specific topics. So, for example, an investigator might search for, images of suspicious vehicles near a crime scene, and then CoAnalyst will go out and retrieve relevant images based on the context within them, not just the metadata. So this is achieved through visual textual embedding, where the system creates vector representations of images, allowing it to understand the visual context. So not just the image, but what else is going on within it.
Yeah, and so it's that ability to search and analyze those images based on the content that's just so incredibly powerful. So we talked a little last time that we were together about the fact that and here I'm just talking about social media, that about 80% of posts worldwide contain images or video. One time I assisted on a case where the suspect had over 90,000 photos that we had to go through. So semantic media search means that investigators can find relevant visual evidence quicker and more accurately. Now, social media aside, this can also be incredibly valuable in cases that involve some sort of footage. Where identifying those key frames or objects can really be critical in that investigation.
Absolutely. And, another really important aspect of visual data, the analysis of it, is that CoAnalyst has pattern recognition. So if I think back to my, the beginning of my career where I started as a traditional crime analyst, this is where that would kick in. So the system can identify patterns and actually abnormalities within large data sets or even images. So, for instance, it can detect repeated appearances of a particular vehicle or an entity across various sources. And obviously, this then helps the investigator connect those dots and build a more comprehensive picture of the actual investigation and the whole entire event that's being looked at.
Right. The pattern recognition is such a game changer for us. So by automating the detection of those patterns, those anomalies, CoAnalyst is going to significantly reduce the workload for investigators and increase the accuracy of the findings at the same time. So the capability is going to allow investigators to focus on the most relevant data without having to manually sift through hundreds of thousands of images or large data sets.
Yeah, and that can really take a lot of time. We know that. We've done it. We do it from time to time, but now that CoAnalyst is here, CoAnalyst, the visual data analysis doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop at just regular static images. It can also process video content. It can identify and extract key frames that contain crucial information. Sometimes these videos move so quickly that you can miss something in the background or even miss something that's right there, but it just moves so fastly. So this obviously is particularly useful for very long content as well, where only a few segments are relevant to the investigation. And that's where CoAnalyst is going to extract that for us.
Yeah, definitely. And we need to be seizing every advantage we can get, right? Because we are absolutely sure that our adversaries are doing that.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a significant one for us. It can automatically highlight those moments of interest, like the appearance of a suspect or suspicious activity, again, which is going to save investigators time, and a tremendous amount of time. So time saving is what you're going to hear me talk about time and time again as we go through our episodes, right? So by giving us these insights, CoAnalyst is going to enhance that overall efficiency and effectiveness of our entire investigative process.
Who doesn't love that? We love to save time and love to be more efficient.
Absolutely.
So let's take a shift now, Christine. Let's shift our focus to data categorization. So this is another area where CoAnalyst excels. Why don't you take the mic now and, well, let me pass the mic back, I should say. How does CoAnalyst help with categorizing large volumes of information? Why don't we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So data categorization is critical. And, again, we're talking about vast amounts of unstructured data that we're having to deal with quite a bit. So CoAnalyst uses advanced NLP, natural language processing techniques, to automatically classify posts, documents, or, other digital content and put it into predefined categories. So again, we're talking quickly finding relevant information without having to sift through that irrelevant data. So, I'm kind of seeing a time-saving pattern here.
Yep, there we are, their traditional crime analysis techniques. We're noticing that pattern. But yeah, the categorization process is very streamlined and it's highly accurate with CoAnalyst. The algorithm that it uses can understand the context and nuances of the content. So it ensures that the categorization is not just by keywords, but it's also the underlying topics and themes. So kind of like what we were talking about one of our previous discussions with semantic categorizations and things around it. So, for example, it can really differentiate between different types of crimes or maybe financial transactions or even specific security threats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of the standout features of CoAnalyst categorization capability is its real-time analysis. So the system can categorize and assess the potential risk associated with each post or document as it's being ingested. It assigns a risk score based on various factors like the severity of the content or its relevance to the investigation. So this risk score is going to help users prioritize their efforts and then focus on those threats that are the most pressing.
Right. And that's, what we're doing with real-time analysis. It's incredibly valuable and obviously in fast-moving investigations and real-time investigations. So, CoAnalyst, then it allows the investigators to respond quickly to these emerging threats and focus their resources where they're needed most. They're going to get the biggest bang out of their buck. So, CoAnalyst, that has a contextual understanding and it ensures that the categorization is accurate and that it's relevant. And it obviously will then further enhance the efficiency of the investigative process using CoAnalyst.
Yeah. And when an investigation really starts to kick off, and we're generally having to analyze data from multiple sources. We start with that one piece, but as we start branching out and following those leads, the number of sources that we start bringing in and having to take into consideration grows, and it can get overwhelming. So,
yes.
Another key aspect of CoAnalyst categorization is its ability to handle these multiple data sources simultaneously. So whether it's media posts or emails or documents or any other type of digital content that we're dealing with, CoAnalyst can analyze and categorize all of them comprehensively. So once again, it's ensuring that no piece of relevant information is going to be overlooked.
Yeah, you're right, Christine, because the multiple source categorization capability is crucial for beating for building a complete picture of the investigation. We don't want to miss any of those outlying pieces. So being able to aggregate and categorize from all of these different sources, CoAnalyst then provides a much better view, a much more holistic view of the situation, and obviously helps investigators really draw more accurate conclusions and make more informed decisions.
Yeah, and with that, so we should also talk about user customization in CoAnalyst. So investigators can actually tailor their category, why is that such a hard word, right? Their categorization parameters to fit their needs, because it's flexible. The tool can then adapt to different types of investigations and user preferences at the same time, which is what is going to make it so versatile for any team that's using it.
Yes, good job with that word.
Thank you.
Little thing. Very good. Yeah, customization is needed. It's an indeed powerful feature also. It allows the investigators to set their own criteria for categorization. It also ensures that the tool aligns with their goals. Is it going to be a financial sphere? Is it a street crime sphere? There's different ways to kind of align those resources or those tools with those categories. And it's whether they need to focus on certain type of crimes, entities, locations. CoAnalyst will always be able to be configured to meet those specific requirements of the end user or the investigator.
Yeah. So CoAnalyst provides visualization of that categorized data. So I'm a huge visual person in my investigation. Absolutely. Like charts, graphs, timelines. I used to print stuff out like huge and put it up on our wall.
Yes.
So it was always there and I could reference it, So if data is represented visually for a lot of people, especially when you're dealing with a whole crew of investigators, there's a much better chance that people can process it, right? Understand it and then even remember it, when it needs to come back to you in that split second. So CoAnalyst offers all kinds of dynamic widgets within the system to enhance our data visualization and our interaction with it. So these visualizations can help investigators see the patterns and trends that really might not be apparent when you're just looking at that raw data alone.
Yeah, you're right. So, CoAnalyst, like you said, it's able to provide a lot of visualization. So it can provide maps, timelines, pie charts, histograms. We're getting real technical here with our old school crime analysis terminology, but even tables. And these are things that we use every day, or at least I use every day in my workflow, because it might even just be a little list on the side. I just make a little table of things. But each of these tools are going to help the investigator analyze data in a different way, taking a different look at the data. So, let's just take the mapping example. The mapping widget allows the user to visualize the geographic portion of the data, showing locations, movements, spatial patterns related to that investigation. And it can be incredibly useful for tracking suspects, identifying hotspots of criminal activity, and anything else that us analysts love to find the patterns of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my favorites is the timeline widget, which is very powerful. So investigators can actually use it to view events and actions and data points that happen over time, which will then, of course, help facilitate the analysis of the trends and the sequences and the temporal relationships that are in that investigation. So the chronology of these events can become clearer for us, and we can identify these patterns in behavior over time with it.
Right. And, pie charts, histograms, they're both really great for visualizing the distribution of the data and what it's comprised of. Pie charts can help break down data into proportional segments, as we know. It just makes it easier to visually understand the data at a glance. Histograms, on the other hand, they display the distribution of numerical data. So it really helps the users quickly identify the really common patterns, any kind of outliers, and obviously abnormalities, in these much larger data sets.
Yep. And then, of course, tables. I said timelines are my favorite. Tables might actually be another one of my favorite. I can't make up my mind. Visual all the way, So CoAnalyst can automatically generate structured tables from these unstructured data sources, which just, of course, blows my mind. So, imagine being able to quickly organize and customize the content that compares different data sets and then presents those findings in a clear and concise format.
Super cool. I remember doing this manually, and it would time staking and, you just trial and error with some of these. But, the variety of the visualization tools presented in CoAnalyst make it such a versatile platform for a wide range of investigative and obviously analytical tasks. There's dynamic ways to interact with the data. CoAnalyst will then enhance the ability to work and understand this complex information. And it just leads to, like you said, a much more seamless and effortless and much more informed decision-making experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Allison, if it were up to me, we would turn this particular episode into a marathon. But I think we should probably go ahead and sum it up.
Right.
CoAnalyst capabilities and analyzing visual data and categorizing information are transformative for our digital investigations. So by leveraging AI and the NLP techniques, CoAnalyst is going to quickly and accurately process vast amounts of data, identifying those patterns and anomalies and presenting findings in a clear and actionable format.
Absolutely. Way to sum it up, Christine. And
yep.
As you can see, we're really proud of what CoAnalyst has achieved this far, and we're obviously even more excited about what's going to continue to be developed and evolved within this technology. The way that it's going to meet the needs of analysts, investigators, researchers, any type of end user. We're just really, really excited to see what's next. So in our next episode, we're going to explore how CoAnalyst's predictive analytics capabilities work in detail. So be sure not to miss next episode. So don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more insights into CoAnalyst and the future of digital investigations. Until next time, I'm Allison Sullivan from Penlink. Thank you, Christine, for joining me as always.
Thanks for having me. Take care, everybody, and stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.